Yes, London. We're live. We're live. We're live. Good morning. Good morning, one and all. It's the doctor's surgery coming to you live and direct this Tuesday morning, Tuesday 30th of June, 2020. So much to talk about this morning. So much has been happening over the week. There's no true central focus, but we will always focus on the key and essential topic areas that have some impact on us as a people. If you're a first time listener, welcome. What's the Doctor's Surgery? The Doctor's Surgery is Britain's first black current affairs show where we discuss the current affairs of all the things that have taken place in the media over the past week that have a detriment to us as a people, that have an impact on us as a people. So, I just wanted to kind of, welcome everyone to the show. If you're a first time listener or you've been a long time listener, welcome or welcome back, either or. The text or phone in line, if you want to take part in the show, we encourage active discussion, is 0753 996 8143. I'll give it again, 0753 996 8143. One last time for the record, 0753 996 8143. Just give us a text or a call to let us know that you're listening. It would be great to hear from you, the listening audience, and have some active participation. This is Omega 104.1. If you're listening out there live and direct, or if you're on the internet, it's omegafmradio.co.uk. On the Mixcloud, mixcloud.com/Omega DJ. And we are live and direct on YouTube, the YouTube channel, The Doctor's Surgery. If you search in the YouTube search icon, The Doctor's Surgery, and then go to filter and filter by channels, you'll see us live and direct, broadcasting live to the world. We'd love for you to follow, subscribe, to get the numbers up so that we can push on with the information that we are conveying. What are some of the things that were discussed in the news that are pertinent over the past week? We have the child support issue that's been discussed. We have the issue of police losing control that we have to discuss. We have to discuss the issues: are we guinea pigs in relation to this so-called COVID-19 vaccine that they're designing and coming out with? Um, we have the issue of police officers taking selfies with dead black people as if it's a game. Um, and we have the issues of radio presenters showing their true colors with their prejudicial and racist thinking. We've had a couple in the past week, and I'm surprised. I mean, I will start there. The first of the two, I'm surprised that the Nation of Islam hasn't. They haven't made any more noise. They haven't made any noise from what I've heard so far. We're my Nation of Islam brothers and sisters. As they would say themselves, we're black men first or black women first before any religion. So where are they when you have a radio presenter on LBC? His name is something something Majid no Nawaz or some stupidness like that. Um, Talking about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as in derogatory, extreme derogatory terms. Now, if you all know me, I'm no fan of Minister Louis Farrakhan. I am no fan of him, but what I'm a fan of is my own. And if anyone's going to judge their own, it should be us judging our own. I don't think anyone from a European background, anyone from an Asian background, anyone from a Pakistani background, anyone from any background apart from a black background should be telling us as a people who we should listen to and hold up based on the struggles and the plight that we've gone through over recent centuries. If we talk about the last century or two, the difficulties are even beyond that. If we go back the last 4 or 5 centuries, the difficulty that we as a people have gone through with global and local racist institute, prejudice behavior, violent prejudice behavior, and racist institutions. No one that exists outside of that circumference of who we are can essentially tell us who we should adore and hold up as a hero and a defender of the community based on the struggles that we went through. And what this LBC presented on, in quite shocking terms, was called the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, in no less terms, a racist, said that he held anti-Semitic values, um, compared him to Adolf Hitler in part, said he met with the Ku Klux Klan, which, a lot of misinformation said that Malcolm X left the Nation of Islam because Minister Louis Farrakhan was the leader at the time and he met with the Ku Klux Klan. And anyone that knows anything about the Nation of Islam will know that what Mr. Nawaz on LBC was talking about was a bunch of lies, an extreme bunch of lies to prejudice his listening audience against a black movement that's been there at the core of a lot of black issues over recent decades that have helped us to stay alive. And when we talk about black organizations that have gone awry or done something in our eyes that may not sit well due to one reason or another, we have to look at, well, what day and time were they in? A lot of people like to compare and contrast black organizations to modern day, to the day that they're in, as opposed to the time when that organization came about and what that organization had to deal with, why they had to come about and do what they had to do at that time. So, for example, the Black Panther movement has been lambasted so many times in the media and the press as being a violent terrorist organization because they promoted guns and the usage of guns and so forth. But no one's looking at the day and time that the Black Panther movement came about and the violence and atrocities that were being perpetuated against black folks in that country, where there was a need to actually take up arms just to slow that roll. And because there was no social media at the time to bring the plight of the murders and the atrocities that were taking place in those countries, specifically speaking, the USA in this instance, at that time and during that day. So, in order to stop the devil, you had to essentially, at that time, become a devil to stop the devil. And I'm not calling the Black Panther movement a devilish organization. I'm just saying they had to do what they had to do to protect their self and kind. And if anyone's going to judge any organization that had to go through the most difficult of times, it should be us. It shouldn't be some privileged, and I don't care what anyone says, some privileged sellout. Because when you listen to Mr. Nawaz's show, he sells out his own all day. When he speaks about Islam and the Islamic people, he sells out his own all day. He has nothing good to say about Islam. So I think in reverse senses, I can't see him that he's a person that's with his own. His partner, be she or he, will not be of the same ethnicity as him. And I will hold my hands up all day and say that. And I don't know because I haven't researched it, because the way that he talks, this is my opinion, and he gives his opinion, I'll give mine. The way he talks is someone that doesn't truly love himself, but just loves the sound of his voice to sound intelligent. And we need to draw the line when someone starts to berate our leaders and try to undermine our leaders. Now, the two leaders that he bigged up Martin Luther King, and he bigged up for us, or for me, the sellout Nelson Mandela. He tried to belittle Malcolm X, saying that Malcolm X's way was the wrong way. And I want to know, who is he to be commenting what is the right way and the wrong way for us as a people when it comes to our liberties being abused, you know? And it really put my back up when I heard someone that has not walked a day of his life in our shoes. And I'm not saying that the Pakistani community hasn't had their difficulties. You know, if it was a time that we were discussing the difficulties within the Pakistani communities, then great, I would sit and listen to Mr. Nawaz. And like I said, a lot of the things that he's talked about when the Pakistani community is having their difficulties with the sexual information that came about grooming gangs and so forth, you know, we know where he stands when it comes to defending his community against white media and negative press. We know where he stands with that. Like I said, he sells out his own. And I'm not saying that he should stand by the negative reports that are coming out that perhaps are true or not true. I'm just saying his stance immediately is always to dismiss his own. But then what also got my gripe is that he said, great, Martin Luther King was great because he promoted unity between the different races and everyone living together. He said Nelson Mandela was great because he promoted unity. This is what unity has birthed. And he said the nation was evil because they met with the Ku Klux Klan, the minister Louis Farrakhan, and it wasn't Louis Farrakhan, but nonetheless, he said the minister Louis Farrakhan met with the Ku Klux Klan to create a black state and white states. That was the premise and the principle behind that. I think that would have been a good thing, to be quite frank. Not because I'm promoting racial divide, but because we can see that without some form of credence and credibility to be able to build our own institutions, the institutions that are at the core of this and other societies will always remain prejudiced towards white, blonde hair and blue eye rule. Now, this is why I commend in some parts the Black Lives Matter movement, because it's brought fresh attention to this issue, even though there's aspects of the Black Lives Matter movement which have aired over recent weeks, which that I don't agree with in terms of funding and the people behind the organization and the agenda, in terms of the financial agenda and the financial direction of funds from the organization. You know, the liberal left. That's something that we're going to talk about later. But nonetheless, and I ain't done yet with Mr. Nawaz, and I think people should put it, if I don't understand where the nation is. If you're a Nation of Islam listener, if you're from of the Nation of Islam and you're listening, I need to know, is the nation aware of what took place? Because not only did he put on a pedestal Nelson Mandela and Martin Luther King, granted, some people will have them on a pedestal. I will not have Nelson Mandela on a pedestal. I think Nelson Mandela is the biggest sellout in modern day history for us as a people. But then he also put Mahatma Gandhi on a pedestal. Mahatma Gandhi he placed on a pedestal above Minister Louis Farrakhan. Now, Minister Louis Farrakhan and Mahatma Gandhi. Now he said that Mr. Louis Farrakhan was anti-Semitic and he met with the Ku Klux lies. When it definite lies when it comes to meeting with the Ku Klux Klan. The anti-Semitic, we all know where the misperception of the anti-Semitism comes from. But we can understand that there might be credence in that aspect of his comments. But then he went on to elaborate by spewing lies to bolster the anti-Semitic statements. But then he applauded Mahatma Gandhi. Why? Because Mahatma Gandhi was what, a great person. But yet, when we look at the teachings of and the writings of Mahatma Gandhi, he spewed nothing but extreme racism against the black man. He called the black man a kafir, a kafir. He said he was subhuman. He was less than the white man who was superior to the, this is his writings. He was less than the white man and less than the Indian. So we were subhuman according to Mahatma Gandhi, right? We were subhuman according to Gandhi's writings and thinking and his philosophy. So when the Minister Louis Farrakhan says something that can be deemed or thought about as anti-Semitic, he is a devil because it's against a group outside the black people. But yet when someone that spews something that is racist and so dehumanizes individuals, they can be great because what? It's against black people. Because that's what, if he was going to be a truly balanced person, Mahatma Gandhi and Minister Louis Farrakhan should have been in the same, should have been on the same shelf if that's the case. Someone that was defending it for their own, but they lambasted other people along the way. Then I could have said, all right, you know what, he's being balanced and fair. But the moment he placed Mahatma Gandhi on a pedestal, on the same pedestal as Nelson Mandela and Martin Luther King, and then he's torn down the Minister Louis Farrakhan and Malcolm X, that's showing you the nuances, and this is why I say you have to listen to the nuances. The nuance there is that Mahatma Gandhi was racist towards black folks. He hated the black man. He thought you less than human. He thought you less than him and the white man. And he put that in black and white. He wrote about it. But yet, this Nawaz dude is either an idiot that doesn't know the full information and he just likes to spew stuff, or he's got an agenda. And he claims he doesn't have an agenda, but as the token on the LBC station, it sounds like he's been given the token rule, an agenda to berate and belittle certain people and lift up others. You know, and I want to know, why is it okay to big up Mahatma Gandhi, who has racist writings and prejudiced thinking against the black man as being subhuman, but yet it's okay to tear down Minister Louis Farrakhan because he said something anti-Semitic? This sounds like there's some disparity, like one is better than the other. You know, is the Jewish life and the Jewish thinking or the Jewish money, whatever you're receiving or whatever it is that that might affect LBC better than the black money? I guess that's a trick question in itself, because it shouldn't even be about money. It should be about respect for each and everyone, irrespective of religious value. And that's how I see Judaism. I see it as a religion and not a race, because I've seen black Jews, white Jews, Mediterranean looking Jews, Middle Eastern looking Jews. I've seen Jewish people of all different colors and complexions. So Judaism is a religion. So how do we compare someone speaking about the money aspect of a religious value and then comparing them and then tearing them down when you compare them against someone who is actually talking about the dehumanization of an individual? And I know what I'm saying. Now I'm saying I'm not getting my story twisted. I ain't playing foolishness. I ain't coming on here to spew racial divide. I'm just saying that this is what this LBC presenter has done in his prejudiced and racist rant. And this show, when was this show again? Sunday? Was it on Sunday? If you all don't know, this is the what's his name? What is his name? Nawaz show, Majid Nawaz. So show on Sunday gone. The disrespect that he showed towards us as a people was astounding. And yet we sit and listen to these people. We need to put in complaints about these things because it was atrocious. And I don't care what people want to say about Mahatma Gandhi. He was a racist against the black man, if that is the case. If we're talking about who was prejudiced and who was racist, Mahatma Gandhi did great things for the Indian people. And the Indians should revere him. I could never tell an Indian man not to revere Mahatma Gandhi. Let's all be as stupid as Majid Nawaz. But he was racist towards us, the black man. So I have no respect for Mahatma Gandhi, apart from the fact that he defended his people, which I have respect for people that defend their people. It is what it is. So Minister Louis Farrakhan has respect from me whenever he's defending us as a people, because very few people put their lives on the line to defend us as a people. Because most black people that defend black people, they try to kill them, or they try to harm them, or they try to tear down their careers or something. So I have to have respect for the man that put his life on the block. Now this fool that they let in to LBC as a little token, he doesn't know his mouth sometime what he's saying, because he just wants to sound good on radio. I want to sound good on radio too, so he can call me what he wants to call me. He probably ain't even listening to my show. So that's cool. But I'm saying that we need to draw a line with these people. I say that, I ain't going to spend too much time with that fool. I say that to run into the other LBC presenter that has been in the media's eye recently. And that's Nick Ferrari. Everyone knows good old Nick. Name of the devil, Nick. You know what I mean? No. Yeah, that's a nickname for this nickname, you get me? That's a nickname for the devil, Nick. Now, when you see Nick Ferrari talking about, he was having a debate a couple of years ago, in 2018, he was having a debate with a female, I can't remember her name, a black female. My presenter would say mixed, a mixed female. And the female was talking about issues that are now current, but before they were trendy due to the George Floyd incident. And she was highlighting how these negative things like these statues and these images, and I think this came around, if my memory serves me right, at the time when there was a debate in Oxford University in and around the statues coming down. And Nick Ferrari turned to the young lady of mixed background who was standing in the corner of black folks. I call them black people same way, but my producer disagrees. Yeah, you're black, you're black. You get me? I drop a black. They say you're black, but my presenter says no. My producer says no. My apologies. Now, this lady was saying, no, I ain't got no behavior, and I talk the truth as I see it, and I would respect you if you call in and tell me off whenever I go wrong. I don't want to be sitting here getting lauded and applauded for saying something that's wrong. Rein me in if you hear me saying something wrong. Rein me in, because I need you all, the listeners, to rein me in whenever I say something wrong, so I can go away and analyze it, because we all can get away with the wrong thing because of our emotions. You know, when you get heated, you might think and say the wrong thing because you're not thinking clearly. So rein me in if you hear me say something wrong. But we have this lady having this discussion with Nick Ferrari, and she was born here in the UK. And she said at the time that about these statues and certain things of the institutions in Britain. And Nick Ferrari said, if you do not like this country and these institutions, why are you here? So it's like, if you're black, you should shut up and stay here and don't say nothing about anything that's not right. That's the core of racist thinking. I don't care if she wants to validate Nick, to say that her and Nick were good friends. You know what I'm saying? Because if she's going to start defending him like that, she might end up with my wrath of me calling her something that she's not. But The core of the fact is that the moment you're going to start saying things like that, it shows the undertone of your thinking. And when you listen to Nick Ferrari's shows since, every time he gets a chance, he says something to denigrate the Black Lives Matter movement. So it shows you his undertone and his thinking. Since he's talked about Black Lives Matter wants a cut in police funding, as if it's something negative to cut racist policing and racist institutional procedures. He doesn't explain that it's about reorganizing how the community policing works by directing funds in the right way. He's stressing it as if it's the extreme. So it's like you give a fool a tool and the fool goes and uses the tool to kill someone, as opposed to using the tool to produce, grow food and feed someone. You know, he's gone the negative way with it. So these are the things that we have to contend with and we have to deal with. You know, so let me know you're thinking. I'm not going to stop ranting about that. I would love to hear from someone from the Nation of Islam to know what you guys are doing about it. You know what I mean? Because I've never been a member of the nation, but like I say, I defend my people no matter what. You know, I've never been a member, but I went to the 10,000 man march. You know, for those who don't know, you remember the 10,000 man march back in the day? I was there. You know, I've always supported my people. Now, you know, that day when I went to the 10,000 man march, I was, me and my friends coming home because it was so much in the media's eye that day. We were attacked by a van full of white racist guys. We did deal with them still different, you know. That it wasn't a worry, but I'm just showing you. And I've never been a member of the nation, but I've always supported my people in whatever they do. And you know, even if sometimes I go down the wrong path, I still stand there and say, yo, Bridget, don't go down this way, you know. It's better we work it this way or whatever. But the Nation of Islam, what's happening, guys? What you guys doing about this? I didn't appreciate that Nawaz guy. I didn't appreciate it at all. And like I said, with Nick Ferrari, you can see the undertones. Nick Ferrari is like an agitator. Like, what's his name? The other fat white geezer on TV. He was in America, but they kicked him out. Yeah, Pierce. I don't know. I don't really listen to Pierce. I don't know how. I don't know whether he's prejudiced in his thinking because I've never really had the opportunity to listen to his shows. I don't know when he's on from when he's not on. I do my best to take in a broad spectrum of shows from all different radio channels and TV and newspaper over the week to give a holistic view of the current affairs and the impact on us as a people. You know, child support. So I say that to roll on into the first of the topic areas. You know, child support. There is so much negative connotations. Actually, before I even roll on into the show any further, are you listening? You know, we have to do this each and every week. Let me check if the phone on. Are you listening? Let me know if you're listening. Give us a text and a call because I don't like ranting to myself. I just ranted for the better part of half an hour, and I don't know if anyone's listening. You know, so I might have just wasted a whole lot of energy. Let me know if you're listening. I know that there's a lot of silent listeners out there, but it won't hurt to give a block your number if you don't want to be involved in that sense, and give us a private missed call or a text message to say listening, or even give us a call to have a quick chat. Are you listening? 0753 996 8143. I give it again, 0753 996 8143. Okay, one last time. When you're ready, 0753 996 8143. That's the text and the phone in line. So whether you want to text or call in, it'll be great to hear from you. Just just to know that you're listening. Thank you to the caller that just called to say that you're listening. Do appreciate that. You know, so that's one. One of the things that we also need to look at So wait, I'm going one somebody I listen today. Call up, you look at me for just take your number and call you and just tell you everything, rather than rather than broadcast it. Come on, give me some more drop on miss call. Let me know that you're listening. You know what I mean? We do appreciate the listening audience out there. You are the reason why we do this show. Big up the drop caller. We appreciate that. So, with the issue of child support, there's been so much negative media ever since I've come to this country, and way before. They've talked about this issue of child support, where they make it seem as if black fathers tend to be the absent fathers and the ones that don't look after their children. And I keep listening to the in the UK, and I keep hmm? Big up Jennifer with the missed call to say she's listening. Thank you. Yeah, I keep listening to things over the last 30 years in this country or so, right? And even beforehand, when we go back into the picky state of things, when we look at back in America, or even in the olden days, anything black was negative, anything white's always positive. Going back to the black and white TV shows with the cowboys, the cowboy in the white hat was the hero, the cowboy in the black hat was the villain. Even when TV was just black and white, they used those plain colors to show the difference. Now things have gotten big up. DJ Blake, Grand Rising King, DJ Blake. I am tuning to your to your up living show. Yeah, man, big up DJ Blake. Text message read, good morning. It's hard to comment as I am in total agreement with you, Rasu. Big up yourself, Rasu. So, like I said, they use these graphic images to show you who's evil and who's good. Like I said, the cowboy in the all white suit, the Lone Ranger, right? He was always the good one. Black suit or black hat or whatever the case may be, he was the evil one. So ever since young, and ever since the invention of basic technology, they've used these simple subliminal messages to make people hate the association with black. So much so that I had a caller last week that even didn't want people to call him black because of the association is so negative. The man goes, have you looked at what black means? Which I have. I'm just using that as an example, caller. Don't be vexed. I'm not trying to attack you. I genuinely ain't, and I don't want you to feel like that. But these are the subtle nuances that they've placed there since time immemorial. And we can go back and we can talk about so much different things in that, but I don't want to go away from topic too much. And then we see the issue of child support, where over the past 3 decades in this country, anytime you said child support, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Be honest. When you hear child support, the first thing that comes to your mind is absent black fathers. Because they've associated child support so strongly with absent black fathers that it in itself, once you hear child support and black fathers not being present, people start to say, once they say the child maintenance agencies, black people that they're after. And now the child support agency or the child maintenance agency or whatever the idiots call themselves these days, it's, I don't agree with them idiots. It's been at the forefront in your face over the last week. And when you check it out, the amount of missing fathers that they are in this, I couldn't believe it. Because the moment I heard about it last week on the radio, when they were talking about child support, the whole issue of child support popping up on the radio last week, I started thinking, here we go again. They're going to start talking about black fathers. And throughout the whole process of last week, when they were talking about child support and they were doing their debates and stuff, not once did I hear any issue about black fathers being absent. And I was so surprised that they've programmed us so much that even when they talk about it and there's no black people in it, in that discussion and that debate, it still reflects bad on us. That's amazing, isn't it? That a black person isn't involved in the topic or debate, black families aren't involved, but yet, even though all you're hearing is white voices and white families being affected by this, and all you're thinking about is black black fathers. That's how deep the programming goes. And I wanted to kind of highlight, my congratulations. Oh, we got live caller. I wanted to call out. Oh, give me one sec. I wanted to kind of highlight the greatness of black fathers and taking of responsibility. And if you're one of those, hold your hands high. That was a Father's Day tribute from the last week. Caller, you're live. Where you calling from? What's your name?
Yeah, I'm from Keith.
What's up, Keith? How you doing?
I'm okay, yeah, I was brushing my teeth when you was talking. I just called to raise more or less two issues.
Mm-hmm.
And just one the issue is I'd like to know why the vaccination situation with the COVID. It's not only the COVID, but any vaccination that come out, they always target the indigo people,
Mm-hmm.
the indigenous people. And they always call us some kind of, what they call us. I don't remember the word they call us, but they just trying to say that we are not much,
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we are few here. Anyway,
Okay. No, I understand. No,
I just find it very strange that
I can explain it, Keith. It's simple as this, right? And it's simple as this. If it works on us, it will work on any other ethnic group.
I disagree with that.
Okay.
That's the logic that they push, but that's not the case.
No, but I didn't say it was a positive thing.
Yeah.
When I say if it works on us, it will work on any other ethnic group. But what you have to remember, when you look, it's not all about genetics. It's not always about pure genetics. It's also it's what they call the genes times the environment, or G times E. Now, your environment is what then dictates how impactful G is, because it's magnified. G is magnified by the environment. So by placing us as a people within a certain type of environment, it magnifies certain outcomes of genes. Now, when you look at the fact that we aren't allowed to talk about things that you can do to boost your immune system, lest they want to shut you down, but yet the prime minister can come out with something so stupid as gastric banding. That is dangerous, right?
What's that? I never heard of that.
Gastric banding is when they open your stomach and band up a portion of your stomach so that you don't digest so much food, so you get full quicker.
You mean for fat people kind of thing?
Yeah, something like that for the people them that can't control their mouth.
Yeah.
And I don't mean in a disrespectful way, you know. So I think that's better than saying the fat people. Then. You understand? But
you think so? But they call them obesity. So which one is worse?
no, why you're trying to put me in some fire on you so now?
No, I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to show you that certain words is worse than certain words.
Truth. That's true.
Because these people,
Mm-hmm.
these people is out of control, and these people are being, in a sense of when you drug, you addict, they become these kind of addicts to the kind of drugs that they've been dishing out and just get out of control. So I don't have no feeling for them people in the sense to say, oh, this and all that. I'm serious.
Mm-hmm.
They need to have some control. You need to be disciplined in life.
Mm-hmm.
As who are you? I don't have more discipline than you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but that's not the topic. The topic is about the targeting of us with the vaccination, because I was saying it looked very skeptical that out of all the indigo people in the world, America and Britain do have so much of us. How come you can find that in these two places that so much of us understand that we die out of
Keith,
trouble?
Keith, you know,
We have no proof of that.
sorry,
Then you're going to say, yeah, we have to inject these people because they died in the boat.
sorry, Keith, you know why, one of the reasons why I brought that up today, do you know where they're testing the vaccine? It came out last week. Do you know where the second trial for the vaccine is started?
Not really, but I sent a video to Uncle, and he hasn't paid yet, but there is a man here that is talking about what they put in the vaccine as well.
No, we're not gonna go buy any speculative stuff because that's one of the problems in.
I don't think that's speculative.
No, well on the key, you can't. We don't know. So it has to become speculative because we're not in the labs with them. So if someone is saying A, B, C is in the vaccine or D, then we have to speculate that there's some accuracy based on how the information is, or there's some inaccuracies based on how the information is. So it becomes speculative. But what is factual in terms of the information, in terms of the occurrences, is different. Now, what I'm saying, the reason I brought up the vaccine issue today in my initial introductory broadcast was because they started trials in South Africa. Now, for me, and I say this unapologetically, the white Europeans have been unapologetically evil to the South African since as far as I can remember. As far as I can remember, when we look at white South Africans, and I'm not talking about all, there are white South Africans that do not agree with this, but I'm talking about the ones in power.
Yeah.
As far as I can see, the ones in power have always done nefarious and underhanded things to the Black African as far back as I can remember. Now, when we talk about the 80s, as a child, I can recall them talking about AIDS being placed in vaccines in Africa. I've been, sorry, in blood transfusions, I should say, not vaccines. The AIDS virus being so tainted blood being given for blood transfusions in Africa. So that's a lot of people that gave a rise to a lot of AIDS cases in Africa. That was purposeful. No one can tell me that was accidental. I don't care. I don't trust the white man that far to think it's accidental. I would say that anywhere, anytime, any day. Yeah. So that was
Nothing that people do
is accidental like that. You get me? Because don't get it twisted. We know that that happens here. Also in Europe, where tainted blood has been, and in America, where tainted blood has been given to people, even white people as well. But on that magnitude, you never get such a failure, right? So nobody can pull the wool over my eyes in that with that foolishness. Now, in South Africa, likewise, they had tainted. I remember in the 80s they had tainted condoms that were that. So you imagine you're buying condom to avoid AIDS, and the condom itself had tainted fluids inside of it that would give you some form of infection. This is the degree and the extent that these warfares, and I call it warfare because it is warfare, that we're going through at the time. So I don't trust them based on historical stuff. Right.
In our warfare, it never stopped. It's just we running with the idea that we're not in a warfare. So why our leaders are dying then with that?
So the reason why I brought it up today was, are we guinea pigs, in the sense that why would the South African government, now so-called Black South African government, give approval for Oxford University, which they've announced on their website, and it's come in a few media presses last week. You can Google it, you'll see. Why would the South African government give approval for the vaccine to be trialed on their population? And this is the next thing that dumbfounds the whole situation. Why would you, as a black man in Africa, agree to? Well, I don't know what the programming is like in Africa, but you can imagine how serious the programming is for them to still think the white man is coming with something to save them. I I can never think like that, and I can't look like that, whether they are or not. You know, a white man could be chasing me with the elixir for life, for eternal life. I'd be running away from him and go, I don't want it. I don't want it. I can't trust him. You get what I'm saying? That's
Yeah,
all.
I get what you're
That
saying, yes.
that's the level of distrust that they placed in me because of how society's been in every westernized society that I've observed with my own eyes. I do not trust the society. So I don't understand why someone would get up and do that, but that's their choice because everyone has this. I might because I think like that. It doesn't mean everyone's got the experience and the paranoia that I have. So I'm not knocking them in that sense. But what I want to know is why us? Why would a black government that's been through so much with their people do that? What if there's like negative ramifications of it? What would their excuses to their people be? You know, this
But
is
they're just told, you know, the white man still run South Africa. You like you don't know that. Come on, man.
no, but this is what I'm saying. They you have to be in agreement with something like that, right? So the government is then just as bunch of sellouts. Then it's not just Mandela. If I so be the case.
Well, it's still Mandela party running, you know, and then the only how South Africa gonna change to what it is right now is if a different party with like that man who is either my more faith in him as a man who is a fighter, just like Winnie Mandela. But the next thing is though, let's leave that for a while, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to the media now, yeah. That man you was talking about on the LB show, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now that man there, I don't know him. I don't know when. Yeah?
Say again, you don't know him.
Well, I don't know him. No, I just listening to what you say, yeah.
Mhm.
But what I'm saying is, now it's not only him alone, you know. Everybody that you know is even in our people is always think, yeah, that Mandela, Martin Luther is the person that should be carrying our flag, our cross, because they think that the media is what pushing these people. But then what they don't realize that these people was put there by the CIA, both of them. So this is why they push this narrative. Anytime you is a person that is gonna stand for what you call indigo for real, they're gonna kill you. Yeah? Whether you agree with me or not, but that's how it is, yeah. So this is why the media now gonna push any narrative around these people. Now if you notice as well, when you go to buy posters, most of the posters you're gonna get is Mandela and Martin Luther King. You're not gonna see much of Marcus Garvey and this you get from Rastaman and Malcolm X. That's to show you. So why is that then? This is an example. Why is that?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
These are people that was fighting for our freedom. That's as you said, died for our freedom. Because Martin Luther King only get killed when he tried to change from the CIA rhetoric. Only the rhetoric he was changing, you know. You know that Martin Luther King organization, they had gun, you know that they had gun, don't you?
Everyone had gun in those days in America because it's your right to bear arms. So people had their security guards around them with guns. Yes.
Well, they had gun, but he was keep on saying that the gun is plan B. But when plan B never worked, when plan A failed up to today, so how come plan B never kicked in? Malcolm X tried to bring the plan B and he become the head of the figure now, really.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So, you know, we live in a world which is not earth. We're not living on earth in the sense. We live in a world which is a cage, which is a system, which is a prison, a slavery prison, yeah? We're living in that, the world, yeah? Satan. And it's like all of us, we become like, in a sense, corrupt, you know, fraudulent, you know. We follow the narrative of this fraud and everything that is fraud. This is what gets the hype when it comes to us.
I
When it comes to truth, we shut it down. We kill that person that target you.
Okay, all right, Keith. I hear
Yes,
you.
I'm
So,
gonna leave you continue with your show, man. Sorry for the disturbance.
no, man. I like giving everyone the opportunity to.
Anytime you're ready to start a revolution, you call me because it's true though, because I'm not gonna make you most business, you know what I'm saying?
All right, Keith. No, I always
Respect
appreciate
your
the
friend.
phone call. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
All right.
thanks.
Mhm. Now, what Keith is saying, I can't say it's the CIA because I don't know, but we do know that there is some organized action in that. Text message reads, "Don't worry yourself, always stuck on your show. Big up yourself, listener. There's always an organized element. So whoever is behind it, we know that someone's behind it. Back in the good old 90s, people used to say in those days the Illuminati, right? And then Hollywood played that out, right? Hollywood made you look like a conspiracy nut when you say the Illuminati. But now everyone says the deep state. I wonder what's the difference between deep state and Illuminati. When you have to think about it, they say, well, the deep state is about power and control. Well, the Illuminati was about power and control. I guess the only difference was they would say the Illuminati sold their soul to the devil. So and deep state is more about money and control as opposed to selling your soul to the devil. But well, when we look at the actions of these people of the deep state, with all the political assassinations, all the illegal warfares and all these things, and the countless lives that have been lost as a result. And if we look even now, with the antagonistic impact of killing black folks, rioting, and with the police brutality, all these things, a lot of them are targeted. That's devilishment in itself. But people would not associate it with saying, yeah, but it's not saying you're selling your soul to a devil, because people don't want to give credence to that philosophy that of there's a live devil. And I mean, newsflash for those who don't know, I spoke about this emblem last week, and I spoke about this emblem last week, and I hope someone from the Jamaican High Commission is listening. I don't think I'm that important, but I'd love to think that in my head anyway. Ego, what do I say? Delusions of grandeur. So, and Jamaica has become the first country to ban that that emblem. The one we talked about with the white angel, or standing on the devil's head, the black devil's head, that they give as a high accolade within the monarchy. Jamaica has banned it from being used, and requested that the monarchy modifies this symbol. So I guess Jamaica is still at the forefront of demanding certain little subtle changes in life. We have to give them credit in that sense. Even though right now you have to wonder if they're selling out their people as well. But that prime minister, I'm not going to knock him yet, but he's moving very, very much like he's moving like a bedwarmer, Like you know, I'm not knocking him different, but I don't favor talk still. You get me? That prime minister moves kind of shaky sometimes, but we give them credit. The Governor General of Jamaica has moved to ban that emblem. What's it called? I can't remember what it's called, but we give them credit for that. You know, and ever since I saw that Prime Minister of Jamaica standing up, gritting his teeth with what's his name, Bill Gates, I have to wonder. So you have to be careful with your companies. That's what you used to hear as a child, right? Be careful of your company. So, so my next topic here, if you want to text or call in, it's the Doctor's Surgery. If you're just tuning in, Britain's first Black current affairs show, where we discuss things that have been in the media's eye over the past week. There has been so much things that riled up my emotions in the last week in the press and in the national media. But it's so difficult to go through them all in such a short space of time. So I've picked and choose a few of them, and of things that I've managed to jot down. I've forgotten a few along the way because, busyness of life as well. I will always forget a few. But there's been so much that's taking place in the national media that I love to lend clarity to, because I feel like there's this game being played out of trying and attempting to control the mindset of the people. And in controlling the mindset of the people, we need to kind of move away from that narrative so that we control our own mindsets. Think for yourself, because I'm saying it doesn't mean make it true. Because someone's saying it on a tape. When I listen to Omega, because I do listen to Omega as well, I listen to all stations. When I listen to Omega, and I hear a lot of people play audio sound bites and recordings, they play these audio sound bites and these recordings as if it's gospel. There's no, I'm going to use the white man term, editorial control, quality control, because someone says it on these sound bites and these recordings, it's then automatically taken as gospel and it's true. And a lot of these presenters, when they play something, I want you all to take the time out to elaborate on the thing that you're playing. Don't just play, do some research as well. Even if it's in black and white, it don't make it true. But do some research as well so you can elaborate on any point that isn't quite as accurate. Improve that accuracy. So make that recording resonate across to the listening audience on a different level. I'm not saying that my show is perfect. I would be the first to hold up my hands and say there's flaws in my show, and that's why I would love for you, the listening audience, to help me with the quality control of this show. And I will do my best to improve as time goes on, because we all can do well with positive criticism, in the sense of a critique of the show to say we're lapsing in terms of helping each other to lift up and rise up. And it's not a crab in a barrel mentality. It's about each of us pulling each other out of the quagmire, one by one, or two by two. So if two are we up there, two are we can pull up two, that two can pull up four, etc. Okay, so it's not a critique, it's just more so of a quality control exercise where we need to start quality controlling ourselves. You know what I mean? But that being said, if you want to take part in the show, 0753 996 8143, 0753 996 8143. I always give it three times, one more for the money. 0753 996 8143. So we're talking about, are we guinea pigs? That's the last subject area. So as I was announcing, Oxford University has announced, and it's come in the media, that they've started trials in South Africa, and people have started taking this vaccine. Now, it makes me worry about what would happen, as a result of this trial taking place in South Africa, a place of worry ever since a child for me, where I was taught so much bad stuff took place with my people down there in South Africa. And the South African people, for me, they've sat in this area and this zone of enigma, where they've taken so much abuse from the European over centuries and decades, and then their brothers and sisters from Zimbabwe and Nigeria and so forth, they would attack them because they were there and they're building businesses in South Africa that the South African black people weren't happy with. So as a result, it made me wonder in parts, why would you attack your own brother and sister that's coming to help and build your country, but yet you wouldn't attack an invader that made you a second class citizen? And this is the Mandela effect. This is something that I do not agree with what Nelson the sellout has done, and I'm going to keep calling him that. Caller, you live. Where you calling from?
I'm calling from Wembley.
And what's your name?
Oh, it's DJ Blake.
Big up yourself, DJ Blake. How you doing? Good to hear from you.
Yeah, Grand Rising, my brother. Very interesting show.
Thank you very much.
Very positive,
Thank you. So what do you think of each aspect of the show so far? What would you like to add?
Well, the guinea pig called the guinea pig syndrome.
Mm. So are we that foolharted? Heartedly, I can't even get that with my mask. Are we that foolharted that we will take up these things as that we're still viewing Europeans as saviors in these countries, or have we not learned anything? Is the programming in South Africa? I'd love to hear from someone from South Africa. Is the programming in South Africa still that strong that we still view European and European medicine as the end all and be all amongst us as a people?
Well, if you notice everything, Ebola, AIDS, they've been testing it a long time.
Mm.
And they've been killing our people wholesale a long time, from the Blue Cross, the Red Cross, and other organizations. But our leaders, what has happened to our leaders? Why is our leaders taking orders from outsiders?
Mm.
The picture goes a lot deeper.
Mm. Okay. And so you feel that, but right before that, in the 80s at least, with during those times, the government was a white government in South Africa. Now you have a black government. Are we to think that all these black governments are just there for their image and they have no resolve in doing things that will be a betterment for their people? Are they just literally just there to just garner votes and then just follow what they're instructed to do by white masters, for lack of a better way of putting it?
I hear you, yeah. You got leaders out there who's doing the right, but they assassinate them and put the ones who are working for the imperialists.
Mm.
And that is a problem, because when you got imperialist black supremacists selling out their own people, I know there's white supremacy, they're controlled by white supremacy, but you also have black supremacy down the pressing down.
But this is where the problem lies now. When we go back, when we go back and we look at the LBC presenter that I spoke about initially, Maajid Nawaz, when we speak about him and his comments and his disparaging comments and his disrespectful comments about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and the lack of empathy and understanding of the difficulties that were being faced at the time when certain things were being said. When we look at things like that and circumstances like that, and we look at modern day, people would say a person like Idi Amin was evil. But when we go to the core of things in Uganda at the time, and I have a lot of Indian friends that their families originated from Uganda. When we look at what was taking place in Uganda, the majority or a mass or a large proportion of Indian people, they were bleeding the country dry, and there appeared to be no resolve. And perhaps Idi Amin's approach was too drastic. But sometimes it's the drastic things that gain the world's attention, so that there's change. Just like with the George Floyd killing, it's a drastic thing that, had it not been recorded, no one would even listen to us at this moment. So is it that sometimes you just need to do the drastic measures? So when we in a country like South Africa, when Mandela said, take your spears and throw them in the sea, should it have been something drastic that garnered that change? But the fact that there was no reprisal for the centuries of atrocities, then it leads on to say, I can continue with the slackness. I can continue with the atrocity of these people, because they're just going to turn around and forgive me.
Yes, they can continue as long as they want. As our leaders is selling out to Europeans, and our leaders is selling out to a lot of different countries right now. As you see what's going on in the globe with Caribbean, with Africa, they're selling out their own people. So leaders are selling out certain resources. They're selling out the future of their own people, from the Caribbean to the continent of Africa. And this is the problem, because it's wholesale. They're sold out. So this is why it's our own people that are selling out to. It's our own people that are selling out to them. our own leaders, my brother.
So what?
So it's a sort of division, my brother, because the ball is in our own court.
Right. That's
who's controlling Nubian lands? Who's controlling the Caribbean? Who's controlling? What are we running? We're not running nothing. But if somebody else is coming and taking our resources to sell themselves out for money and imprison themselves, it's like they've imprisoned themselves because you've got imperialists that come and can tell you what to do. We can't go to China and tell them what to do. They can come to Africa and build police station in Africa.
Yeah.
And bring weapons of mass destruction to Africa and bring the surface everywhere from Caribbean to Africa. So how does that work? You can't just make a friends when they come in your own land. It can be something for the own people. That's where the problem is our own people. Something of our own people. Our own leaders.
Most definitely. So what do you think the answer is, the resolution? Do you think that there's a resolution, an answer, a way out of this deep quagmire that we find ourselves in? I think there's a way out, but it's not something that I would per se start to blab on air because we chat too much sometimes. But do you think there's a way out? You don't have to go into it if you don't want to share, but do you think there's a way out? A resolution?
There's a way out. The leaders need to unite the people together and go back for original, throw away religion and go back to original spirituality and throw away European concepts.
What about the other way around? The people need to unite the governments in the sense that we as a people, for example, when we look at London, we have gang warfare in London. You have over in East London, you have Beckton fighting Customs House, which is right next door to each other. That's fighting Plaistow, that's fighting Stratford. You go North London, Edmonton fighting Seven Sisters, all that foolishness. South London, the same thing. Northwest, Church Road, Stonebridge, and Harlesden are at odds. And these are people that are probably long distance cousins if they're generational. And the whole thinking behind that, when you go to each individual area in London and you look at the divide and rule philosophy, if these youths should start to merge and unite together and stop the continuation of this vile action against each other. Once these youth start to knock heads and start to focus, let's say, on making money and commerce and development, that in itself would encourage someone from top down, looking top down, to say, hold on, their influence will not resonate with these youths unless they're saying something to these youths to tap into that resource. And that's the problem, because no one's tapping into the resources of the mindset of the youngsters. And that needs to be done as well. But should it not be us as people, whether we're the elders or the bigger heads, as they would say, that we need to organize ourselves? We need to learn how to get on in our own little small groups and wider afield, so that the top down looking down will start to say, you know what, I need to become amongst that, because they would then feel safe. Because our leaders may not feel safe to stand up for us, because they know that there will not be any reprisal or ramifications if they are assassinated, because no one will rise up. But if they know that there's going to be, hell on earth to pay should something happens, because the people are united in thinking, united in focus, would that not be something that you need to see first, us as a people just learning to get on as a people together?
The true leaders are free to talk the truth and right, a true leader. So we don't need cowards as leaders, my brother, because there's too much cowards around. There's too much cowards around these days, my brother. And they're killing one another, but they don't really take it to go to some research. And a lot of the parents and everything like that, they don't teach us management and business management at school. They don't teach them economy. They don't teach them about certain things to own their own business, to strive and have their own. Certain times they'll be told that you could be a good footballer, you could be a good music. Sometimes some of the parents don't know their own history. Sometimes some of the parents don't know, they don't even know where they're coming from themselves. So how are they going to teach the youth of certain things, brother? And the youth them are killing one another because they need to do more research to find out who the real enemy is. It's the same problem in black and black killing. And they're talking about Black Lives Matter and black and black killing. And no unity among certain black and black people because they're killing one another. They don't really know who the real enemy is. They're talking about zero of the blood, the kids. You're still murdering each other, but they're not murdering. They couldn't find the real enemy. The real enemy is themselves. So they don't, you know what, communities and people never have communities no more. Because we don't heard of it. I mean, if we talk about the better, we talking to our own people, or others, we don't have no business. Because we've been downtrodden by the imperialists too. And everything, we don't have no economy, we don't own anything. The only thing we own is a barber shop. A barber shop, takeaway, Caribbean takeaway. And here's just a shop. So, we the elders of the build the same things as well. You think it much?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. So, we the elders have been around a long time. We have been going through the system as well. And we have to start to put that with ourselves. And we get my drip out of that.
Yeah.
There is a system, the politics, the policy, the policy is all the same. Because
Hello?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, man, I hear that still call him. Many respect, DJ Blake. I hear that.
I don't know the thing, but this thing has been going on from the longest time, my brother. And I think a big part of it is white supremacy. Because they're well organized, my brother. They're well organized in all departments. And it's a whole black party, black and white supremacy fighting on. We have other people fighting as well. And we have a lot of people. We don't have much friends, my brother. So we don't have much friends in other departments. That's why the department of resources have been taken by other people. Everybody coming and take and claim, conquer. Europe was divided up about first term and the whole of the Caribbean. So what do we own?
We own a lot, we just don't realize it. The need,
all we are is just a slave with a birth certificate.
We are
a slave with a birth certificate, my brother. That's all we are. Until we wake up and find out that we have been by Malcolm X said. Malcolm X was some things talk about dying for the truth. So many other leaders, so many man leaders, they were not afraid to die for it. But we're talking our people that so much hate. Hate is when united as one nation and everything like that, you know? We just further away from the further away. And the youth need more love. You know what I mean? And unity and strength, that's what we need. But come here this year.
Yeah.
You know, the system of white supremacy is the same thing that they've done to them.
Yeah. Yeah, man, no worries. All right, DJ Blake. You know? No, man, and that's appreciated. You know what I mean? That has been appreciated. So, big up yourself.
You know, just make you just like the system is not. It's so much injustice going on, you know. And let me get away for too long, brother. For too long.
Yeah.
It's time now. It's wake up time now, you know.
Most definitely.
I don't know if I was the lady I'm sure yesterday.
No, I never catch it. Go on, give me a quick breakdown.
About the calendar, how it's 2012, not really 2020, and certain things in South America was predicted by certain people in Uganda. And it's the same way it is. It's like what they taught you. It's a lie. So you have to reform to find the truth. But everything that your parents have told you from your baby is a lie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a lie. Everything that they've taught you is that until we get going back to our original spirituality and forget about universal philosophy, because it's kind of philosophy they're teaching, they're trying to tell us and everything like that. We have to go back to our original, all of us, from Africa to the Caribbean. You know, there's few people that know what's going on, like yourself, who's conscious of certain things, but there's a lot of people that still need awakening. And some people wake up overnight. You know what I mean? I think this kind of the police in police clearing things. The problem, you know, in this country, Mexicans got problems, Africa, everywhere they go, they have a presence. And they don't care what the mental for them. That's what they say, yes, they're the ones that got to prison. So why the police really have it on the killers? They release the chains and kill you, they're paying the brother. And then another person can start wake up the street. And really start, you know what I mean? That's the ones that never get results, because we're not like an organization and marching. You want for peace, they're going to put you down. They put Luther King down for marching for peace. They might make march for other things. He has his own up, and they still up with them. These people, and giving up organization, brother. We have to organize, and then another thing, parties, what they're having, and police coming and they're battling the police. It's for the foolishness they have them here. Because of lockdown.
Okay. I hear that, DJ Greg. Yeah, man, no worries. Yeah, man, I hear the passion. Yeah, man, the passion's real, and that's what we want. We want people to start focusing. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
They have to divide it and have a more colony so that Jamaica, this one is Trinidad, this one is from Africa, this one is from Ghana. They have to break this right in the brother. We are one people. How do we get to the stage? We have to look at that brother. Also,
yes, Mr. DJ Blake, we'll talk again. Most definitely. Keep listening. Give thanks. Marathon respect. That was DJ Blake, folks. You can catch him on a Friday between 4 and 6 here on Omega 104.1. Remember, Omega fmradio.co.uk if you're listening on the internet. And you know, you can watch live this show, The Doctor's Surgery, on The Doctor's Surgery. If you go onto YouTube and search The Doctor's Surgery, then go filter channels. We're right at the top. Subscribe. You'll get the show pinging right through to you live as we go and broadcast. You can watch us in the studio live and direct. If you want to take part in the show, the number is 0753-996-8143. I'll give that number again, 0753-996-8143. One last time for the money, 0753-996-8143. If you're just tuning in, it's the Doctor's Surgery, Britain's first Black current affairs show. You know, bringing you the information that's been pertinently discussed in the media that impacts on us as a people over the past week. What have we discussed so far? We've discussed is there no one from the Nation of Islam listening? I still really don't understand why no one's called up in relation to the disrespect of the honorable Elijah Muhammad, not Elijah Muhammad, um, even though he was implicitly disrespected. Minister Louis Farrakhan, was disrespected by a LBC radio presenter in very disparaging terms, who glorified a known racist Mahatma Gandhi against black folks, but then denigrated Minister Louis Farrakhan for so-called anti-Semitic comments, as if one is better than the other. The man that disrespected black folks, calling them kafir and lesser than human, he glorified. But then Mr. Louis Farrakhan, he denigrated and even told lies on about things that Mr. Louis Farrakhan has done, which he didn't do. So this guy on LBC, even if he's amongst the worst, and that's what I'm saying. People from different groupings trying to tell us who we should look up to as a people. I would never, like I keep saying, I would never tell an Indian person not to look up to Gandhi. Gandhi did great things for the Indian people, and if I was Indian, I'd look up to Gandhi as a great person. But as a black man, for lack of a better word, I'm just using that term so we all can understand. As a black man that sits in this corner of the fence, Mahatma Gandhi was nothing more than a racist bigot. Okay? That's all he was to me. But if I was Indian, I would hold him in the accolade that the Indians hold him up to. So perhaps that's why, but then again, Majid, I don't know what he is, even though he claims to be Pakistani, but he sells out his own every chance he gets on the radio, which tells me that his partner is not going to be of Pakistani persuasion. He or she, I don't know which way he leans, is either going to be, of a different race, probably white, by the way that Mr. Nawaz talks. And I don't mean it in a disrespectful way. If you listen to my past shows, what I mean by that is that most people that you find in situations where they're not with their own, they're in relationships that they're compromised, and it changes the frequency of thought and their behaviors and what they say. They can't speak freely, and in this compromised situation, your comments are always not the interest of even your, always global in terms of thinking. And I'm not saying global in the thinking is bad or good. I'm just saying that whenever I'm thinking of black people, I have to say it as it is. And when you're thinking globally, it's hard to say, well, predominantly, if I had a white partner per se, it's difficult for me to say the white man has been continuously evil towards black people over the generations, because it'll upset my partner every time I harp on about it. And I just find that people that are in that situation, they're compromised. Not that they're doing something wrong, but they're just compromised. You get what I'm saying? And I just feel this guy, the way he talks, he's compromised. And this is why his speech is always so compromised and confused in himself. He's a compromised brother. And again, it doesn't mean he's done something wrong by choosing who he wants to love. That's not my business. I'm talking about when someone's compromised, they can't effectively just come out and say what it is because they're in a compromising situation. I have, and this is a known term that racists would say. I have white friends and I have Asian friends, and it makes me feel acutely compromised when I have to say these things, but I have to say these things nonetheless. So I'm not excluding myself from that mix. I am including myself in that mix. But nonetheless, my partner isn't. So I don't have to feel extremely compromised. I don't have to feel like my partner, I have to sleep with one eye open at night to make sure that my partner don't joke with the knife. It's real talk. I don't know what people like that go through. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in that situation, and I'm not trying to disrespect the situation. So when we come back on the other side, we're going to look at, are the police losing control? We spoke about that. DJ Blake touched on it briefly when he was talking. Are the police losing control? Are the youths running the streets? I also want to look at the fact that, when they talk about Liverpool fans celebrating Liverpool's victory, You know what I mean? I was a former Liverpool supporter. I stopped supporting Liverpool with the Suarez fiasco because I didn't respect the way that they didn't kick out Suarez for the racist chant. So I stopped supporting Liverpool. So now Liverpool's champion. I can't even celebrate with them. I throw away all my Liverpool memorabilia. Well, they got old and I didn't renew them. You know what I mean? 'Cause I don't throw away my things. You get me? So, but anyway, the fact that they could go out and they could illegally gather and celebrate Liverpool's victory, the supporters, but yet when a group of black people circumnavigate a barbecue, it's an illegal street party. But oh, Liverpool, when the news talks about it, it's Liverpool supporters celebrating Liverpool's victory. It's not said an illegal gathering. These terms, these words that they use to always imply that we go above and beyond in illegalities. They always stress the negative: an illegal street party, an illegal gathering, an illegal this, an illegal that. And very of all the news outlets I listened to in the past week, I think it was only Sky News that gave a balanced perspective by saying an illegal gathering when it came to white folks as well, once. You know, because I do my best to create a balanced view across the realm. So BBC created divide by calling the black gatherings illegal, the white gatherings, they use favorable terms. Likewise, LBC, likewise, all the other channels. The only one that I think gave some balanced view and called it all illegal, which it was all illegal, full stop. If one is illegal, all is illegal, was the Sky News, I think. And funnily enough, that same little idiot, Nawaz, actually made some good points on that himself. You know, so sometimes you can't always be wrong. Credit where credit is due. We'll catch you back on the other side. I'll explain that enigma in itself.
Media Raid 104.1